Good morning, this is Group 4, and we will be presenting on the role of heredity and environment on the social, physical, and psychological development of a child. Our group members are Andela Alexander, Amanda Washington, Ariti Epsam, Crystal Johnson, and Tiffany King.
Heredity defines our nature. It is based on the biological transmission of physical and psychological traits from generation to generation. Traits are transmitted by chromosomes and genes. Traits are also determined by pairs of genes. Heredity transmits physical characteristics such as eye color, blood type, height, body structure, or a disease from parents to children. It is responsible for all the inborn traits, the instincts, emotions, intelligence, reflex action, and physical traits of a human being. Chromosomal or genetic abnormalities can cause health problems. Some health problems caused by genetic abnormalities are Down syndrome, sickle cell anemia, cystic fibrosis, Turner syndrome. Heredity is a significant factor in the physical development of a child. Genetic influences have an enormous influence on how a child develops.
The physical development of a child is directly influenced by the environment in which they grow. There are different types of environments that can influence childhood development. These include biological, physical, psychosocial, and familial. In order for children to reach their full potential, they require an optimal environment. From the time the child is in the womb, they are affected by environment. For example, exposure to certain substances and toxins can result in low birth weight, birth defects, and other lifelong medical issues. The familial and psychosocial environments are especially important because if a child is not loved and nurtured, as well as exposed to social stimulation, they will fail to reach certain important developmental milestones. For example, caregivers need to ensure children are being reared to develop their motor skills, control, and coordination. That will enable them to become independent. The biological environment, which includes nutrition, is also integral. In order to grow normally, children must be fed a balanced and nutritious diet. The lack thereof will cause serious deficiencies and diseases such as malnutrition. Overall poor health and increased risk of infectious diseases are also common. The physical environment, which includes housing conditions, also influence children's development. An unclean, unsafe home with high exposure to the elements of nature will be a hurdle for their normal physical development.
The psychological development of a child is heavily influenced by the environment in which he or she grows and has an impact on a child's health and well being, as well as the development of emotional, behavioral, social, cognitive, and intellectual abilities. Fussy temperament, developmental delay, major health concerns, and family risk factors, including maternal depression, mental illness in the family, parental substance misuse, poverty, etc., can affect a child emotionally and socially. In a negative emotional environment, a child may struggle to form strong peer relationships, lag behind intellectually, have behavioral challenges later in life, and may also develop physical and mental health problems as adults, preventing them from reaching their full potential. Because they provide the most stable relationships for a child, parents and caregivers play the most important role in social and emotional development. Children learn about relationships and explore emotions through consistent encounters with family members, instructors, and other adults. In healthy emotional environment, children will flourish in all aspects and have a positive attitude towards learning, be more capable of dealing with important life transitions, learning appropriate responses to situations, and understanding and expressing one's own and others' emotions. Many of the relationships children make are inside their family or neighborhood, and living in a structured social setting can enhance positive social behavior and improve a child's chances of forming social bonds. Poor cognitive development is linked to environments that are deficient in stimulation and provide fewer opportunities for learning. Reasoning, planning, problem solving, abstract thinking, and understanding complications are all aspects of cognitive and intellectual development. When children are exposed to stimulating surroundings, they have the potential to improve cognitively or in these aspects. The home environment and parenting of a child, schooling and availability of learning tools and nutrition, among other things, all have a role in appropriate development of cognitive and intellectual abilities.
Psychological refers to the mental and emotional state of a person. Heredity has a significant impact on the psychological health of an individual. The following areas are affected: extroversion, which has to do with the individual's capacity to be sociable and agreeable rather than reserved and thoughtful; conscientious, which refers to whether the individual is impulsive and disorganized rather than disciplined, competent, and careful; neuroticism, which refers to whether the individual is calm, confident, optimistic, or rather anxious, insecure, and pessimistic. Numerous mental health disorders can be handed down, such as obsession and compulsion, substance abuse such as drug addiction and alcoholism, depression, bipolar, and schizophrenia. Particularly tend to run in the family, and people with close relatives with this disorder are at risk.
Due to the fact that personality traits are inherited, the way individuals socialize and interact with the world around them is impacted. The field of gene psychology or behavioral biology is dedicated to studying to what extent does genetics influence behavior. Although some behavior is learned, some are innate. For example, people who can be considered socially skilled may in fact be the recipients of genes that allow them to recognize faces better than others. This is crucial for finding mates, social interactions, and distinguishing friends from enemies.
A child's social development plays a key role in carving who they are to become, such as with their personality. Now, as humans, we are born with some traits that remain all throughout life, but we all have the ability to go through changes with the help of social influences in the area in which we live. This is why it is good to live in an environment that will develop them in a positive and good way. Their behaviors and relationships will also be influenced greatly by this. And as we want the best for our children, we should strive to put them in a great environment. The parent or parents of a child's social relationships are recognized as an important part of influencing the quality of learning, which is an important contribution to a child's overall development. Who a child is surrounded with most of their life deals with this. Parents who have a very strong social relationship between themselves and their children are likely to help their children develop positively on this part, and these relationships are a key part of human development. According to research, the facts that influence a child's social development can be swayed by these things. Number one, their physical surroundings. Number two, their social relationships. And number three, community resources.
And that brings us to the end of our presentation. Thank you.